Hello students, welcome to Legacy IAS Academy. Today we are going to discuss about two other important viruses that are circulating across the world. One of them is the monkeypox virus, which has been found in almost more than 20 countries as of now, and the West Nile virus, whose incidences have been recorded in the India as well. So in this particular context, in today's video we are going to discuss about the origin, symptoms and the vaccine or any possible cure of these particular viruses and the related diseases. So first of all, let us discuss about the context in which we are discussing today's issues. So with cases of monkeypox which is being recorded all across the world, it has caught everyone's attention. And as of now, the total present outbreak has a total of over 220 confirmed cases that is spread in almost 19 countries. Majority of these countries are in the Europe and the main one being United Kingdom, Spain and Portugal. At the same time, if you take a look towards the West Nile virus, what we can see is the Kerala Health Department is on the alert after a 47-year-old person died from being infected by this virus in the Thrissur region of the Kerala. Before that also in year 2019, a 6-year-old boy in the Malappuram region of Kerala had died due to the same infection. The first time in India, in the state of Kerala actually, the virus was reported in the Alappuzha region in 2006 and after that Ernakulam in year 2011. So it is not the first time this virus has been recorded in Kerala. Now let us try to understand and trace the origin of monkeypox virus. So the first time this virus was recorded, it was in year 1958 in the monkeys in the African region. However, the first human case was found out later, almost 12 years later in 1917 in the Democratic Republic of Congo. Now if we try to understand about the kind of virus, which kind of virus this monkeypox is, so it is an example of a type of orthopox virus. Orthopox virus belongs to the same family of smallpox and chickenpox, and we have two different variants. For example, we have variola virus and vaccinia virus which are circulating in this monkeypox virus. So overall, the monkeypox is similar to the chickenpox and smallpox. However, relative to them it is much less severe. The symptoms also are very much similar. The variola and vaccinia virus actually help also in development of smallpox. Smallpox. The discovery or understanding about the vaccinia virus also helped in developing, we can say, the vaccine for the smallpox virus. Now, apart from this, if we try to understand about monkeypox virus, what we can find out that this is an example of zoonotic diseases. Zoonotic diseases means a disease that is spread or come to the humans from the animals. So, animal infection to the humans is very much possible. And in this term, as clear from the name itself, monkeys are believed to be the only incidental host, while the rodents and non-human primates could be a potential reservoir. What do we understand by term potential reservoir? Potential reservoir is where all these viruses are kind of like being present in a very huge amount, and whenever we have infection, cases of infection, then the virus can replicate in the other organisms. Now obviously, since the virus are largely derived from the monkeys as being the incidental host, these are much more common in the areas of tropical rainforest, and the animals like squirrels, Gambian poached rats, dormins and some species of monkeys can act as a potential host. However, if you look at the human to human transmission, it is very limited, and the longest documented chain of transmission is 6 generations. What does it tell us? It tells us that we try to understand the present patient, which is a human, and if we try to trace its family history, we have to go almost 6 generations back when the last time the human or the man from that particular family was infected. So once you are infected, the next time the possibility of infection in your family will arise after 6 generations. So that is why the CDC, that is Central Disease Control of United States of America, and other European health agencies have said that the human to human transmission is very much limited, and that is why people should not be concerned about that scenario. Now what about the mutation of this virus? So if we try to look at the DNA of this particular virus, they have very large genome, especially if you compare them with the current pandemic, that is SARS-CoV virus. So they have a very large genome of around 200,000 nucleotide bases. As we know, the DNA is a double helical structure, and here we have 4 different substances are there that make up the base of DNA. For example, we have adenine, guanine, then we have cytosine and thymine. So similarly, the DNA virus of monkeypox have 200,000 nucleotide bases, which is very higher as compared to SARS-CoV virus. And the rate of mutation, however, is very less. And in the monkeypox virus case, it is significantly lower, especially it is only 1 to 2 mutations per year the virus undergoes. However, in the African region, total 2 distinct clade of virus has been identified. One of the clade is called as Congo Basin or the Central African clade, while the other clade is called as the West African clade, and these viruses are mutated and slightly different from each other in terms of transmission as well as the severity of the diseases. Now, what are the symptoms and the possible treatment of this virus? So, as per US CDC, the common symptoms are similar to the other viral infections, for example, fever, headache, muscle ache, back aches and exhaustion. However, there is a very specific symptoms of monkeypox virus is that is something called as lymphadenopathy, where we have a swelling of the lymph nodes of the body, and that is why in the neck region where a lot of lymph nodes are situated, we can see enlarged swelling. Now, what about the death rate of this virus? So, it is believed that death rate can vary as low as 0 to as high as 11% in documented cases. However, in terms of the age group, it is always the younger children who are more prone to being infected by this virus and dying. Now, if we talk about the treatment, so as of now we do not have any safe proven treatment specifically for the monkeypox. So, how the people who suffer from monkeypox are treated? So, basically the supportive treatment is provided depending on the symptom of the person. For example, if someone is suffering from fever, body ache and chills, then responding to that the related or associated medicines can be provided. However, the doctors and the health agencies all across the world are saying that the most important way of tackling the spread of this virus is creating awareness about it, and thus focusing on the prevention and control is one of the best strategy that should be adopted all across the world to tackle this virus. Now, what about the vaccine of this virus? So, as we have discussed, since the COVID virus or SARS-CoV-2 virus was spreading at a very fast rate, and that is why all across the world, a lot of countries collaborated together to develop this vaccine. However, the monkeypox virus does not spread to such a large extent, and we have very isolated cases every now and then have been recorded, and that is why the focus of countries or different institute in development of this virus has been less. So, doctors believe that whatever vaccine we have developed for the smallpox virus, the vaccine is called as vaccinia vaccine, that will also be effective against monkeypox virus as well. The reason is simple, because both the viruses belong to the same family. However, the problem arises that since the smallpox has been eradicated in since 1980s, and that is why the vaccine of smallpox has also been discontinued, and it is due to this. And due to this, now since the smallpox has already been eradicated in 1980s, the vaccine of a smallpox has also been discontinued, and that is why it is not provided to the people these days. And it is due to this reason we can understand, we have discussed that the younger individuals are much at higher risk of developing or getting this monkeypox virus and becoming sick and finally dying. The reason is simply because they are unlikely to have received the vaccines, and that is why they are much more susceptible to this virus. The older people who have got this vaccine in 80s or early 70s, they have this vaccinia vaccine, so they are much more virus proof as with related to the monkeypox. Now, coming to the second virus, that is the West Nile virus. So, if you look at the origin of this virus, the first time it was discovered in year 1937 in the Uganda, where we have a district called as West Nile district, and thus the name. However, if you look at the India, for the first time the virus was discovered in the city of Mumbai in 1952. However, the maximum spread of this virus has been observed in year 1999, when it is believed that the WMV strain of this virus, which spreaded from Israel and Tunisia, it spread all the way up to Northern America, when some people or some person infected by this virus reached New York, and that it produces a very large outbreak that spread to both North American continent as well as the South American continent. WNV outbreak sites are found along the major bird migratory routes. That is also one very important observation. First of all, if we try to understand about the this spread or the circulation of West Nile virus, It is a mosquito-borne virus which is a single-stranded RNA. That is how it differs from monkeypox virus. Monkeypox virus, as we discussed, is a DNA virus having a DNA of 200,000 nucleotide bases, while West Nile virus is a single-stranded RNA virus that is carried by the mosquito. If you look at the gene of this virus, it belongs to flavivirus genus and belongs to the category of Japanese encephalitis antigenic complex of family Flaviviridae. The infection of this virus happens not by all the mosquito but Culex type of mosquitoes. If you look at the host of this virus, so all the three species, that is humans, animals as well as birds, can act as a reservoir. Now let us try to understand that how the transmission of this virus can occur. So as we discussed, mosquito act as a vector and the reservoir host can be a bird. So suppose there is a large number of this virus that is present in this particular bird, and a mosquito comes and mosquito come and bite this bird. Then after some time, what will happen after due to this biting? The virus will be transmitted to the mosquito. Now it's not, the mosquito does not become we can say mosquito cannot transmit this virus immediately. Some days pass, and after some days the virus then goes to the salivary gland of the mosquito, and after that if it start to bite other person, whether it can be humans or animals or any other birds, then the mosquito becomes able to transmit this virus. So as we can see from this arrow diagram, mosquito first bites the infected bird, after some time it bites another bird and then spread the virus in other birds as well. Then again this other bird start to act as a host. Then it can also bite a horse, then it will become a dead end. That means the horse is not able to develop high levels of virus in their bloodstream and cannot pass the virus on to any other human being or any other animals. Similarly, humans also act as a dead horse. That means once the virus goes into the bloodstream of humans, it also becomes a dead end and they are not able to pass the virus. So that is why the role of mosquito is very, very important here. Now what about the other methods of infection? So as per the health agencies, the possibility of infection also arises if the transfusion of blood is going on between two persons and one of the person is having this particular virus. Secondly, the infected mother has also very high chance of passing the virus to her child. And third, exposure, if it is happening in the laboratories or the hospitals, then also people can become infected by this virus. However, largely what you can see is that it is not known to spread by contact with infected humans or animals. If you come in direct contact with some person or animals who is having this virus, you will not become infected because the mosquito act as a transmission agent. Now what about the symptom of this virus? So symptom is, for 80% of the infected people, they are asymptomatic, they do not exhibit any symptoms. In some people, there is a symptom of common fever, headache, fatigue, body aches, nausea, rash and the swollen glands. In severe cases, which is 5% of the cases, people can develop very severe symptoms like encephalitis, meningitis, that is the swelling of the brain, paralysis and finally even death. So what should be our way forward? So obviously we have tried to understand about this virus by looking at their DNAs and RNAs, and that is why, because these viruses are much more common in the areas which are economically least developed areas in African nation countries, so there should be a continuous effort to bridge the divide in health, knowledge, experience as well as infrastructure, and by focusing on this, it can contribute a long lasting impact in preventing and managing the future outbreaks and can contribute to an equitable and global public health. So in conclusion, what we can say is that learning from the enormous wealth of knowledge which we have derived from the African countries which have effectively managed the monkeypox outbreaks in the past, it would go a great way in containing the present outbreak which is going on in the European countries. So that is all for today's issue. Thank you very much.